Welcome to all my travelers out there. I am your host, Darren Beckett, and this is the Global Travel Podcast. For those who do not know my travel resume, I've been to 13 states, 15 countries on 5 different continents, but it is not about me. Here, we are giving you quality travel tips, insights, and recommendations on all the best destinations for ideas to enjoy your vacations. With that being said, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. We are all clear for takeoff. All right, before we reach our destination, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, click the bell, and to do me a huge favor, if you guys can, in the comment section below, type in the words, "I got my ticket." And then at the end of the video, I'm going to come back, I'm going to respond and see how your experience went with this. All right. So with that being said, on today's episode, we are taking a trip to Egypt. Okay. So make sure you got your passports, your earphones, and something to snack on. We have a very special guest with us today. But before I introduce them, let me just say this. This young lady is well aware of how to travel, where to go. She's been across the world and back. When I say she travels, she's been to 40 different states and 23 different countries. Jordan. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Joy Iromanya.
Hi, you guys.
Thank you so much, Joy, for stopping by, dropping us some good travel knowledge. I really appreciate it. We're going to have a lot of fun today. Got a exciting trip. It's going to Egypt, so that should be fun for our audience. And let me see here. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Where do you work? Your background, hobbies, X, Y, and Z. Tell us a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So, my name's Julia Armania. I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska. There are Black people in Nebraska, born and raised. My parents actually came over to America in 1980. So they've been here quite a bit. All of my siblings were all born here. For the past 10 years, I've been in the Navy. I'm a Navy reservist. I'm what we call a master at arms, which is basically military police. And it'll be 3 years in January, I'll be at my airline, Delta Airlines. So that kind of keeps me busy. In my free time, I'm like you, I'm a creator. So I love to write. I love to do videography. I love watching movies, photography, and most of all, traveling.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, you've been to a lot of places. So, out of curiosity, what was like? 'Cause we all got, we get bit by the travel bug, is what they call it. So what was like your first trip? Like, where was that? How did you get bit by the travel bug? Tell us about that experience.
So I actually joined the military so I could travel. And oh my God, I can't even believe I'm telling you the story because it's kind of embarrassing. But I
We
got
like stories.
orders to and mind you, when I was younger, like we never went overseas. We never really went on family vacations. So a year after I joined the Navy, I got orders to Thailand. And I was like I was super stoked. And my mom was like, "But you don't have a passport." And I was like, I'm good, I'm good. And she's like, "No, you should probably have a passport." But I talked to somebody who was in the Navy a lot longer than me, ranked a lot higher than me. And I was like, "Do I need to have a passport?" And he was like, "You can have a passport or you don't have to." He was like, "Wherever there is like a military base," he's like, you can go there. You don't need it." So I like Google, I see how much a passport costs. And I said, "Oh no." I think it was what, like 150. I was like, "Oh no, that's too expensive." So me got on a plane and flew all the way to Thailand. And when I got to Thailand, they were like, "Where's your passport?" And I was like, "I got my military ID and I got a set of my orders." And they're like, "No, you can't enter this country." And I'm like, "But you guys have a military base, right? Like the SOFA agreement." And they're like, "We haven't had a base here since the 1970s." And I
What?
was like, "Okay." so so they had me go to like a little like holding cell, and I'm over here with all these like sketchy people, we're all kind of looking at each other like, "Why are you here and why are you here?" But thank God I was able to call my commander, we have like a on-call like emergency hotline number, and I called it and I told the person what was going on, and he was like, I'm gonna call the commander right now. And mind you, I'm in Thailand, so it's
Yeah.
like super early, and he
Yeah.
calls me and he's like, wow, Iramanya. He's like, you don't have a passport? And I'm like, no. So he was like, would you like to fly back to the States, or do you want me to make some phone calls and see if I can have you go to another country where there is a SOFA agreement and where you're able to go? So he made a few phone calls, and 3 hours later, I flew to Okinawa, Japan. And
Wow.
that was really where I like caught the like travel bug,
Uh-huh.
because when you think of like America and then you think
Hmm.
of Japan, it's
Hmm.
like the polar opposite. And just like experiencing the food, experiencing the culture, talking to the people, I was just like, wow, like there's so much that I don't know. There's so much that, I haven't seen in the world. And I think after that, I was like, I really need to start making travel a priority. And I
Hmm.
got a passport.
Right. So what type of food you mentioned? I'm a foodie, so I got to talk about my food. You mentioned food in Japan. What do you like? What do you recommend for our listeners?
Well, we went to this one cafe that was really cool. It was like a buffet style, that
Hmm.
your sushi basically came out on like a conveyor belt. So
Mm.
each like plate had basically like three different types, and you just would like pick it. And then at the end, you basically would like pay by like your plates, and
Hmm.
you would just
Hmm.
stack them up. And then if you wanted like something special, you could like order it on a screen.
Oh,
Yeah,
fancy.
so that
I
was,
like
yeah,
that.
that was really cool. And then also, ramen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yep,
it
yep,
was
yep.
really cool to go to like a very like authentic like ramen spot. And then
Hmm.
another thing too that was kind of like when we would stand at the gates and do security, we
Hmm.
always had, us as the American, and then we had a foreign national, which was a Japanese person. And that was
Hmm.
really cool because like I brought like Hershey's Kisses and different things like that.
Right.
And they would bring like their candy and we would swap. So it was also cool. And they have like, they might have like Kit Kats and stuff, but it's in
Hmm.
completely different flavors, like
Hmm.
green
Hmm.
tea and just
Hmm.
like different things like that. So that was
Hmm.
like a really cool experience.
Nice. Yeah. See, it's that first trip that gets you that get bit by the travel bug and you start flying and be like, you know what, I got to go somewhere else. And what's next? And
Yeah.
let's go. Let's get that passport stamped up, inked up. Let's go.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely. And then far, you've been to, like I said, 40 different states. So I mean, I know you've been to a lot of the main states, the popular states, the Californias, the New Yorks and Floridas and stuff like that. What about some of since we're, a lot of folks are traveling in the states nowadays because of the pandemic and whatnot. So what are some like off brands or not necessarily like off brands, but states that a lot of folks don't really travel much or a lot of folks don't really mention about travel? What do you recommend to go to? What states?
I mean, Wisconsin is really cool.
Hmm.
I went to Appleton, and
Hmm.
Appleton was really cool because it kind of reminded me of almost like my town, like Lincoln. Like it's a
Hmm.
college town,
Hmm.
but they had like one restaurant. It was like a very authentic like German restaurant, and I've been to Germany a couple times, so that was kind of cool. And talking to the owner, he was an immigrant and kind of built the restaurant around like the food he grew up with, and that was really cool. And then there was also this bar. It's
Hmm.
called Cleo's. They play like 90s hip hop, but it's like decorated Christmas all year round.
Really?
Yeah,
I've
and Christmas is my favorite holiday. So I was there in like
Yeah.
July, and I was like, whoa,
Uh,
this is really cool. This is like
yeah.
pre-pandemic, but yeah, so that was really good. And I love Florida.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
Cocoa Beach is like really fun. For me, anytime I can get around like the beach and get around water, that's always really dope.
Yeah.
And it's still really close if you want to do Universal, if you want to do Disney, like that's all in close proximity. But to
Mhm.
me, like if I can be on the beach every day, like I'm happy.
Yep, yep. Same here. I'm a beach fanatic, tropical type of person myself, so I understand. So yeah, Wisconsin. Okay, so you got the Christmas theme all year round. Definitely like that. The German spot, authentic German food. You said so.
Mhm.
That's so Wisconsin. What you said? What was the name of the spot again? Do you remember?
Cleo's.
Cleo's. Okay,
Yeah,
Cleo's. Okay,
yeah,
so if you want to go to Wisconsin, go to Cleo's.
yeah.
If you like
Check out
Christmas,
Appleton.
Appleton. See, yep, there you go. What other states? Like I said, you've been to a list of them. What other states would you recommend?
See, I know you're gonna say like I'm biased, but I think Omaha. I think Omaha is like a
Okay.
really cool spot. Like people forget that like Malcolm X was born here, Marlon Brando. There's a lot to do. Like people think it's like country and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
cornfields, but it's not. Like it's and whenever I bring my friends like for like because I do a lot of Omaha layovers. I
Uh-huh.
take them to like the Omaha Henry Dorley Zoo. And I know
Okay.
that sounds kind of corny, but it's literally like ranked top 3 in the nation.
Oh, that's
Like,
not so
yeah,
corny.
like you know who John Hanna is?
I've heard of the name, but I don't. I'm
He
not.
does that show when he has like the hat, like the wilderness show or whatever.
Okay. Okay. I
I
heard of
had
the
him on a
name.
flight once and I was like, I'm from, Nebraska. And he was like, Omaha, Dorley Zoo. He's like, I've been to Tanzania. I've been, everywhere. He's
Mm-hmm.
like, that is literally one of the best zoos I've ever been to. Best safari, best everything. And I was like, we're actually nationally ranked. We're in the top 3. So
That's
don't
good
sleep on.
information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another thing too is we have the old market. And the
Uh-huh.
old market has like a lot of cute little boutiques and restaurants. And like my friends, they're like, compared to like Atlanta and New York City, they're like this is so cheap.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
they're
oh,
like Omaha
cheap.
is so affordable, and I'm like I'm
Yeah.
telling you, don't sleep
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in California, so we
Oh yeah,
when
you got those prices.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And Californians and New Yorkers. So we one
Yeah,
of
for sure,
the we
for
one of the
sure.
more expensive states. So I mean, I like California because is the weather. I mean, personally, Southern California just got that weather year round. As far as the weather in Omaha, Nebraska, what's the best time to go? Worst time to go?
Well, it's so relative because like my
Mhm.
friend, I'm based in Atlanta, so like my flight attendant friends that are based in Atlanta, they try to come up to Omaha during the winter because they want to see snow. They
Mhm.
think it's so
Mhm.
beautiful. As for
Mhm.
me, I would say the summer months because I just
Okay.
feel like there's
Okay.
so much to do. We have College World Series, we have the zoo, we have the old market. There's so much to do.
Mhm.
But like right now, when it starts to get cold, like right now it's about like 30 degrees.
Mhm.
I don't
Mhm.
like that. I don't like that. No.
Right, right, right. So when it snowed, do you guys have like mountains or hills where you can go skiing or snowboarding or something like that? Like Colorado
We
or something?
do no, not like Colorado.
Okay,
Not
okay,
like
nothing like
Colorado.
that. Okay.
Nah, like actually, like a lot of people go to like in Nebraska, a lot of them go to like Wyoming or they go to Colorado to do like the skiing and the snowboarding and all that. But Nebraska's pretty flat.
It's pretty flat, huh? Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Hmm.
okay. Yeah, so have you been on any cruises at all? Because I know
No,
you haven't been on any cruises.
no, no.
Recommend cruise to all my listeners out there. I'm telling you, I recommend if you haven't been on a cruise, if you're not afraid of water, man, you get the most bang for your buck. Especially if money, it's always a down to time and money. So if money is one of the issues, if you do a cruise, you don't need a passport. So you board right here in America and you go to wherever countries that it goes to. You can go in 1 week, you can hit like 2 or 3 different countries in a short period of time. So you can cover a lot of ground. I mean, there's pros and cons to it or whatever, depending on your travel style. And with the cruises, it's all inclusive, minus the alcohol or alcoholic beverages. But
Yeah.
the food is included, your room is included, entertainment. So you really don't need to spend anything else, not unless you just want some excursions or some souvenirs or something like that. So cruises is definitely something to do. Keep in mind if you guys, I don't know what it's looking like right now with the pandemic. I heard actually that they are lifting the ban off of cruises. They just got to get their like testing in order and with the protocols and all of that. So once they get that in suit, then we can start cruising again. But no rush, no
No,
rush.
I definitely want to go on a cruise. I've heard
Hmm.
very good things about certain cruise lines, but I don't know. It's funny that you even bring up cruises because I remember when I used to work kind of by Port Canaveral, and
Hmm.
I would see those cruise ships coming by. and they would
Mhm.
have the music, and it just
Mm.
looked like it was lit. But
Mm.
it's definitely on my bucket list.
It is. It is. Now, when you travel, are you by yourself most of the time because it's for work, or do you travel with your groups and friends and whatnot as well? Or
Yeah, well, I usually travel by myself.
mm,
My younger sister is my travel companion,
mhm,
so she
mhm,
kind of has like flight benefits. So I usually fly with her, but our schedules are constantly like conflicting.
mhm,
She's,
mhm,
she kind of has your typical like 9 to 5. She's off on the weekends.
mhm,
I'm the complete opposite. I typically work on the weekends and then I'm off during the week. So it's kind of hard for us to mesh. And I'm also really big on like, traveling for free. So, I travel a lot for work.
right.
Like I'll purposely pick up trips so I can have like a 3-day layover in Shanghai or a 2-hour layover in Lagos.
Mhm,
So that's kind of where I do a lot of my traveling. And then also with the military, they'll
mhm.
send me to Italy for 2 weeks or Jamaica for 2 weeks or so. Yeah,
Mhm.
that works
That's
out really
dope.
nice.
That's dope.
Hmm.
So, all right. So, it's two things I wanted to touch on. The first one, first and foremost, is traveling as a lady, as a woman, by yourself, solo. So, I know there's some travelers out there that's probably listening that either travel by themselves or thought about it or want to. What advice? What can you recommend to our lady travelers out there that's traveling solo? What do you recommend? How can they be safe and all that good stuff?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is try to blend in. I know there
Mhm,
are some countries where it's like you just don't wear like your engagement ring or your wedding ring. You don't wear, a lot of makeup. You don't wear, you just want to look like a local
mhm,
because the more you kind of look like you stand out, the more intention you're gonna, bring to yourself.
mhm.
I also think that like we have to be mindful of the culture that we're, surrounding ourselves with. Like, I know when I went to Egypt, I had one friend, like the first day, I had one friend who walked out with like a tank top and shorts, like in the lobby, and we were like, no, 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 honey. Like, you can't, here, you can't do that. Like, so also just like being aware of just like different cultures. Also, in America, we have the whole Me Too movement, but a lot of other countries don't have that. So, like you got to be careful. So I wouldn't, you know, go out at night by myself. I wouldn't drink, excessively or be inebriated if I was traveling by myself. Those are just like little things that, you just don't want to put yourself in, a position to be like victimized or anything.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's you believe it or not. I don't know if you know this, but there are more women travelers than men. Women are the travelers out there. There's more women
Wow.
traveling than yeah. There's more women traveling and more solo women traveling. And those who are in a relationship, they're a couple. The woman is planning the travels. So women
I
are
can see that.
the women like my mom.
I'm
She plans the trips. My pops just sit back and be like, all right, honey, where we
really,
going?
he just
Yeah,
shows up.
he just show up like, all right, where we going? What I need? All right, let's go. So yeah, that's pretty much how that worked. And then another thing I want to touch on is for those folks, there might be some folks who are interested in being a flight attendant. So
Mhm.
tell us the pros, tell us the goods about being a flight attendant. What are some of the benefits?
I think definitely the flight benefits. So basically, if Delta has like a partnership with an airline or Delta, like I can basically fly free domestically wherever there's a free open seat. Now, if I
Mhm,
go international, then I have to pay the taxes.
mhm.
But besides
Which is
that,
about how much about? Just give us a rough.
it varies.
Uh-huh.
Like I know London is up there. I think London is like $100. I know,
Oh,
yeah, I know going
yeah,
to South Korea is like 44. Going to
right.
Bali was like 67. I think
Wow.
going to Mexico was like 44.
Round
So
trip.
yeah, and it's kind of like a science, but
Yeah.
if you can be able to like, because we can actually be able to like check the loads and kind of
Mhm.
see how many passengers typically are on that flight. And usually, if you can find like, fly out on a Sunday, or if you can take the first flight out, then, those are usually more open.
Mhm.
Also, my sister is my travel companion. So,
Mhm.
she's been to Italy, she's been to Mexico, she's been to Atlanta, she's been, so she gets to travel and if you're married, You could have your spouse, or you could have a friend or a
Mhm.
sibling. You could also have your parents,
Mhm.
and if you have children, you can also have your children on your passes. So I definitely that's a pro. I also think another pro is we have so much flexibility in our schedule.
Mhm.
Like if you know I don't mind working the weekends, but if I didn't want to work the weekends, I could be able to swap my trips with other people. So that's really nice. Like a lot of times I don't like use my vacation to travel. I'll just like work 2 weeks in a row and then have like 2 weeks off. So that's
Nice.
kind of how I like finagle it.
Mhm.
um Also, if every time you fly you kind of have like a different crew.
Mhm.
So that's always like new and exciting to me because I'm like meeting new people all the time. And it's,
Mhm.
you're just experiencing people from all walks of life and kind of learning about them.
Mhm. Do you speak any other languages?
No, unfortunately, I do not.
Okay, yeah, because I know a lot of folks. Well, Americans, we don't speak a lot of languages. We just stay to our English, and honestly, it get us by. Like you can go anywhere in the world, someone speak English, so you're not gonna have an issue with someone not. They at least speak a little bit or enough to get you to what you need to get to. So that's good. But I always recommend if you can learn another language, definitely learn another language. I
I
didn't learn
agree.
it. I didn't learn another language till I was like 23 or 4 or something like that. So it's definitely a challenge as you get older.
Yeah,
So
definitely. I totally agree.
yeah. And then far as other states, or you know what, before I even get, because this is actually important because we're in the pandemic or whatnot. So what is it like? Are you working right now, or what is it like flying right now during these times?
I actually took a leave of absence from April to November 1st. And then
Mm,
first week I had vacation. So I actually am returning this month. But just from, I've been on about 3 trips,
mhm,
just solo trips by myself. And from like a flight attendant perspective, we're reducing services. So we reduce the amount of touch points. So when
mhm,
you get on the plane, they'll give you like a wet wipe, and then during the flight, like I flew United, and they just gave like a can of soda. Delta is doing like a Ziploc bag that has hand sanitizer, snacks, and a water bottle. But Delta and like Southwest are blocking off the middle seats. United was kind of full, but from like a flight attendant perspective, also though, our flights have reduced significantly. Like
mm.
last I checked, it was like 90%.
Whoa.
So yeah, so they've canceled a lot. Like you used to be able to go from Lincoln, my hometown, to Atlanta. You can't do that anymore. You have to drive 45 minutes to go to Omaha.
Mm,
So a lot of the flights have been like reduced
mm,
significantly. Um, the flights are starting to pick up now, but for
mhm,
a while there, it was like empty.
mhm,
Like you could
mhm.
count like on one hand, the number of passengers, but it's definitely started to rise.
Okay, yeah. And
Mhm.
I'm seeing more folks traveling, more folks are going, a lot of folks are going to Cancun. So Cancun seems like that's the hot spot right
It's
now.
definitely the hot spot.
Yeah, because you don't need any any tests or anything like that.
Nothing, nothing. And
Uh
they were the first. They were one of the first countries to open up to U.S. citizens.
okay. So what other countries do you know of off the top of your head that is open to us? Where can we go?
I've had friends go to, just like you said, Mexico, the Dominican Republic,
Mm-hmm.
Turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Turkey's becoming what Cancun was. Like Turkey's kind of on the rise. Also Egypt. A lot of my friends have been going to Egypt. I think those are like the four main
Mm.
places.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know a lot of countries are having like I said, restrictions. You have to take a test like a week or two before, not a two because you can get that after, but you got to take a test a couple days before you go, you got to quarantine in some places for 14 days, depending on where that is. So I think
Yeah,
Hawaii is, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if you know off the top of your head or not, but I believe I heard or I think Hawaii you have to quarantine for like 14 days. But I don't
correct.
know. Is that correct? Is that
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah.
okay? Okay. So yeah, if you're trying to go to Hawaii, make
And
sure.
and they are not playing about that. I've seen on the news that they've like arrested some people for breaking quarantine.
Oh,
Yeah, because
see.
you know on the custom form how you like write down like the hotel you're at. I guess they've
Mm-hmm.
been like in coordination with the like hotel staff and trying to make sure that people are like quarantining. And if they see
Mm-hmm.
you like out on the beach every day, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not good.
Wow. So they see. So y'all better quarantine. Y'all better follow the rules and regulations because they not playing out here. And
No.
I heard they finding people too. If
Yes.
they finding people, and I don't know how much it is, but is I don't want to pay it, whatever it is.
Yeah, no,
So
I feel you.
so I don't even want to know what it is. So yeah, man, that is real. And then far as I know. Okay, so we have a lot of places that we can't go right now. So since folks are traveling in the United States, what other states that you can think of that folks that you recommend folks going to?
I think doing like outdoor activities, like going to national parks, I think
Mm-hmm.
that's like incredible. I think, just getting back to like nature and seeing, like Zion National Park, Grand Canyon, even like in the Pacific Northwest, like there's so many beautiful areas where you can social distance and you can be outside where it's like, there's wind and, it's like properly ventilated. So I would
Mm-hmm.
definitely recommend doing like the national parks. Also, if you're a veteran, admission is free. So if you're like a Gold Star family or you're a veteran, admission's also free.
See, that's always free is good. Free 99
Yes,
is good in my book.
I
So
agree.
yeah, I know a lot of folks I've seen go to Lake Tahoe's being one of the popular places I've seen with for California folks and I guess Vegas folks, Arizona. So yeah, Grand Canyon. I've seen some folks hitting Grand Canyon up. I even seen some folks hit Utah. Like you said,
Yeah,
these states that in our own backyard that we
yeah.
don't appreciate. We want to go to different countries in our own backyard is really, really beautiful. So yeah, definitely if you can stay here for a little bit, see your own home, your own backyard, check it out. America is beautiful as well. And if you can't do road trips are I mean if you can do it, because I'm gonna tell you, I went on a road trip before from California to Texas, Houston, Texas in the summertime.
Ooh, ooh.
Yeah, never again. Never again. So all right, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we have finally touched down in Egypt, and welcome, welcome, welcome. So with that being said, we're here now, Joy. So if you can share what should we expect? What is there to do in Egypt? Tell us about Egypt.
I absolutely love Egypt. I went to Cairo and Alexandria, and the first thing I did when I went to Cairo is we went to the pyramids of Giza, and that
Mm-hmm.
was really awesome. We rode camels and um, checked out also so many museums. Um, just learning about the history and seeing like when I talk about like going in the pyramids, like we literally like there were times where you were like bear crawling like in the museum. We went to like the first built museum, and then we went to like one of the like newer museums, but that
Mm-hmm.
was really awesome. um we also did like a cruise,
Mm-hmm.
and they had these like dancers
Mm-hmm.
that were kind of like, I was kind of surprised because they almost reminded me of like belly dancers, but there's like a different name for them. But
Uh-huh.
it was really cool to see them like spinning around in their dresses. And we went ATVing, and that
Yeah.
was really cool, like in the desert. And when I went to Alexandria, we went to the Kite Bay, the
Mm-hmm.
Citadel. I want to say it's the Citadel at Kai Bay, and it's
Okay.
basically like an old military like fortress.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was really cool. We also went to this restaurant that was really popular that a lot of stars used to go to back in the 80s, and it was right on the
Mm-hmm.
water. Like, so that was really cool, like right on the Nile River. Um, Yeah, we did a lot of stuff. There's a lot to do in Cairo
Mhm.
and
Right, right.
Mhm.
Well, what airline did you take going to Egypt?
So, oh my God. So remember how I was telling you about how we fly standby?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So our original plan was, just to fly from like Atlanta to Rome, Rome to Egypt. But
Mm-hmm.
every flight we were trying to get on kept being full. And actually, there was a girl just like on a traveling website. She said, would anybody like to go to Egypt? So I messaged her and I said, I would like to go to Egypt. And I remembered that I worked another trip with another girl who said she wanted to go to Egypt. So she brought another person along and the four of us went. But every flight we kept trying to get on kept being full. So we
Mm-hmm.
ended up going from Atlanta to Munich, spent the night in Munich, and then we took Australian or
Uh-huh.
Austria
Mm-hmm.
Airway to Vienna, and then Vienna to Cairo. So it
Ooh,
was a
that's
little, yeah, it wasn't as
yeah.
smooth as we wanted to, but I mean, we ended up, we got there and it was inexpensive, but we
Mm-hmm.
did lose one day though.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. It happens. And then, far as like what's the weather? I mean, I know it's hot. Is it what kind of degrees, or is it how hot was it?
I would think it would probably be how it is in Cali because like during the day it was like, probably like 80 degrees, but then at night it got
Oh,
really
okay.
cool. Yeah, it got really
Oh,
cool.
oh,
Mhm.
okay, okay. See, yeah, I wouldn't. And then, yeah, you rode ride the camels and everything. That's one of the things that's on my list is riding the camels, going to the pyramid. That's dope. And then, did you guys stay at a hotel, or what are you guys? What
Yeah,
hotel did you stay at? How was it?
yeah, we actually stayed at a Hilton
Mm-hmm.
and it was really nice because one my friend and I, we were just thinking we were just going to have, like a normal like hotel with like king size, beds or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
they decided to upgrade us. So we
Mm.
literally had like an apartment. Yeah, like it was a two-bedroom apartment. We barely spent any time in our hotel because we were always like on the move. But there was like a kitchen.
Mhm.
Both of us had our own bathrooms. We both had, our own bedrooms. There was a living room. There was also like laundry, like a washer
Mhm.
and dryer. So
Mhm.
I was like beyond like, whoa, this is like amazing.
Yeah, the Hilton, right?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
It
the
was,
Hilton chain. Yeah, they have good hotels to stay at around the world. There are a
yeah,
lot of places. There are a lot of
it was a
places.
little dated.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
but it was like very clean and you can't get mad at an upgrade.
Yeah, yeah. Especially, I don't get mad when they say clean. I'm one of those. I'm not too picky, but they got to be clean. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Definitely.
That's one of them. And then, how were the people? How were the people? How were they?
It was really cool because um a lot of the guys, like when I would be walking around, they would be like, Nefertiti, Nefertiti. And I was like, are they talking about me? Or they
Nefertiti.
would, come up to us like because you know I'm black. That one of the people that I was with is black, and then there was like a Brazilian and
Mhm.
white girl.
Mhm.
But the Egyptians would come up to like me and my friend that was black, and they would be like, "Welcome home."
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. So I thought that
oh.
I thought that was like really cool, and you could tell like they were like really into like hip hop culture and like you would hear them like listening to rap, so that was really cool. I mean, of course they're like speaking Arabic, but like
Right.
it was like really cool, and some of them would even be like, yeah, Kanye West, yeah, I love him, so
Uh-huh.
they definitely have that like pop culture. But I think one of the downsides though were there
Mhm.
were a lot of like beggars, like
Oh,
little kids that
kids. Ah.
yeah, and it just felt like, like the first day, a little girl came up to me and was like, can I have some money? And I gave her $1. And
Mhm.
my tour guide was like, don't do that again. And he was like, and I was like, why? Like blah, blah, blah. I kid you, not even 20 minutes later, I don't know who she went and told, but like 6 kids come up to me and they're like, And I was just like, ah, and he was like, that's exactly why I told you not to do that, you know? So for the rest of my trip, like when they would come up to me, I learned how to say no in Arabic.
Mm.
And I would just be like, no, no.
Right.
And
Uh-huh.
say it in
Uh-huh.
Arabic, and then they would like walk away. But that was kind of, a little downside, made me a little sad.
Mhm. But that's actually I'm glad that you brought that up because it's real, and I want to tell my listeners out there, my travelers, when it comes to being in a different country, and we're a lot of us that's listening is from America, so we're pretty fortunate, even our low income community is richer than a lot of folks in other countries, but they
Mhm.
don't know that because they've never left this country. So I recommend, not as much as we want to, as much as I want to, when you give that money up, like it was going to happen, like what happened to Joy, you're going to have more coming, and it's going to be nonstop. And it's the same thing with souvenirs. You're gonna get a lot of folks who are selling you this, selling that. You're on
Mhm.
the beach, you're
Oh my
enjoying yourself, you're
God.
enjoying your
Yes,
vacation, and they trying to sell you
yes,
sunglasses, they trying to sell you hats, they trying to sell you, all kind, whatever they got. Now, it's cool if you want it and go ahead and buy it, but I'm gonna tell you, once you buy that, it's gonna be a line of them while you're purchasing your sunglasses. Somebody behind them is gonna have a shirt for you. Somebody behind them is gonna have a hat for you. Somebody behind them is gonna have some sunscreen for you. So
yes.
yeah, be careful on that. Yeah, that's one of those
Yeah,
things.
that's a good point. That's a good point.
Uh-huh. And then yeah, I'm glad that we talked about that because that's important. And then Arabic. What did you learn in Arabic? What languages, what words do you know, if any?
I don't even remember. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't even remember.
Arabic is it's a different language. Is different. It's difficult.
But I will say when I was there though, I did pick up, like hi, bye, how much, just like the little basic things.
How long were you there for again?
5 days.
5 days. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And I don't know how long do you travel in general? Do you travel for a long period of time, or short, like little spurts, weekend getaways? And
Yeah, see, when it depends because when I'm traveling like by myself, I usually
hmm
try to do like 5 days just
hmm
because I'm not really using vacation. So
hmm
that just, allows me to be able to just like move my trips all up to 1 week and then have, 7 days off and then, but also a lot of my trips with my airline are short. So
hmm
like, I might go to Toronto a lot, but I might only have like a 15-hour layover.
Okay.
So a
Okay.
lot of
Right.
times it's
Right.
like you just get food and you come right back. But
Right.
I usually try to do about 5 days, 5-day trips.
Okay. And
Mhm.
I want to touch on something that you said. We had a long layover. You said 15 hours. Is that what you said? A
Yeah.
layover. Now I'm gonna tell you, it could be good and bad when your layovers is really long, depending on what you make of it. If you have a long layover in another country, take advantage of it. Go out, go see the country. You don't need to go far. You got a plane to catch. You don't want to miss your plane.
Mhm.
But yeah, go if you're traveling. Like for instance, we was going to Thailand. We stopped in China. Didn't have enough time to go experience China. But if you have like a 10-hour layover, 15 or even a whole day or whatever it is, I would say at least an 8-hour trip. You can, if you got like an 8-hour layover, you can go experience a little bit of whatever that country is. It's kind of like a little cheat that you can do. Like, oh, at least I was in China. It wasn't for
No,
long,
I
but
totally agree. I totally agree. I know it's a lot of those flights, like just like you said, like if you're going to Thailand or if you're going to other places, they might have like a layover in a country. So yeah,
mm,
you definitely got to like go out and explore.
and I don't ever recommend getting a layover too close together. Like for instance, a short period of time. For you may have like a 45-minute layover. Do your research, understand if you're gonna have to get your bags again and then
Oh, I
recheck in, and we gotta do all of that. You're not gonna make it in 45. You're gonna miss that flight, and that may be the last flight, and then you get it's just do your research. I'm telling you, I'm saving you from
no,
experience.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
hmm hmm
Yeah.
So what about the visa? What is like the requirements for Americans go to Egypt? Is there like visas that we got to pay for? How much? What's the process
Yeah.
like?
Yeah, so the visa is actually $25
hmm
cash, and you can
Okay.
actually get it at the airport.
Okay, when you arrive.
Yep. Hmm.
Okay, okay, okay. And then what type of food? What was like? Do you remember like what type of food that they have specifically, or?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like the names of it. There there's kind of like this like bread,
Mm-hmm.
and they eat it with like this white sauce that is kind of like, I
Is
want
it
to say,
hummus?
no, it's not. It's almost like a cross between like hummus and like maybe like sour cream. It's
Okay,
like kind of
okay.
creamy, but you kind of like dip your bread in it.
Right,
You can
okay.
eat it. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's also these sandwiches that we would have that they had like pickled like ginger on it,
Hmm.
and it wasn't meat, but it was kind of a, I don't want to say a soy burger because I know that's not the name of it.
Right.
But yeah, um yeah, I'm drawing a blank, but I kept on trying to like eat authentic like Egyptian food. So,
Right.
anytime we went to, like a restaurant or anything, like I would
Mhm,
always ask them, like what is a traditional like Egyptian meal, like what would you
mhm,
recommend? And a lot of times like I ate whatever they gave me,
mhm,
and
mhm, right.
I mean I never had any complaints. I will say though that be careful about eating on like food trucks.
Anywhere you go in the world, food, even
Yeah,
here in America, but especially when you go to different countries, you're right. Yeah.
yeah, and that's also like, I always tell my friends, like if you're going to go to Egypt, I would definitely recommend having a tour guide because those are like the little things that they can, kind of help you with.
Mhm,
My guy was really nice because he was able to just kind of like teach us about the culture and kind of tell us like what to do, where to go, what to eat, and we just, we felt like very protected, and he was so
mhm.
knowledgeable.
Yeah, because he's from. See, and that's one thing I recommend too. If you guys can, if money is not an issue or whatnot, I always recommend. Well, not always, but sometimes, depending on what country you're going to, get yourself a tour guide. Just like Joy said, they have a wealth of knowledge. A lot of times, 9 times out of 10, they're from that country, so they know the language, they know the hot spots to go, the local spots, not the touristy spots. Not that that's bad or not, but some folks want to go in and get that traditional local cuisine from the country. And I always recommend travelers out there, man. I always recommend try the new food, try a different culture, try the food. I know some folks they want to see a McDonald's. They want to see somewhere they feel comfortable and they're like, you know what, this feel like home, but you're not home. So venture out and try new things, try new foods. I think that's very important. And then also, Joy, what about, was there any type of like clothing requirements for women or anything like that in Egypt, or what was that like?
Yeah, for the most part, it's just, you just want to be conservative.
Mm-hmm.
But we did go to a mosque, and it was actually the first mosque that was ever built in all of Africa. And for
Mm,
that, to enter that mosque, you did need to have like a covering. And I actually just rented one from there.
oh, you
So
can rent them.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, it was like nice, I just, covered my head and, did my tour, and then when I was done, I like gave it back to them. But for the most part, I think I think Cairo was pretty westernized. So, I even like the local women, like I did see some that were, like covered, but for the
Mm-hmm.
most part, they weren't. But they definitely did have, like at least t-shirts and like, jeans on or slacks.
Okay. And then what about local transportation? How did you guys get around? Was it Uber? Did they have like local transportation, or how was that?
My tour guide actually provided all of the transportation.
That's
Yeah,
good.
because
Yeah.
yeah, because you just have to be careful, like being a woman and like traveling, in a country, and then not only that, but like the driving is horrendous. So I've had some of my friends say, like, oh, I've driven in, Europe. I've driven. I'm like, no, that's a little different. Like I'm telling you, anything goes.
Anything. Anything go. All right, what side of the road do they drive on? Do they drive on the same side we drive on in America,
Yeah,
or they?
they do, but they just don't observe like the street signs,
Mm,
you know. And it's like you'll have like a what we would call like a two lane, and you would
mm-hmm.
see like four cars, and there would be, you know, like a motorcycle that's like weaving in and out, and you know, so
Wow.
yeah, I definitely wouldn't recommend like driving there yourself. I mean, and I mean, you could do, you know, like Uber and Lyft and things, but you
Mm-hmm.
definitely want to make sure that you're traveling in a group.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And what I notice in different countries is where there is a lot of Uber everywhere. You can Uber everywhere. So I was in Costa Rica and they had Uber. So that was one of the places that, among many others that you can Uber. So Uber is pretty much everywhere. A lot of places. I'm gonna say everywhere, but um, if you have a tour guide, they can provide transportation for you. Um, a lot of places have like their local public transportation, like buses and trains and taxis and stuff like that. So definitely make sure your transportation is in line. Did you go to any other places other than Cairo? Other
Alexandria.
cities?
Yeah,
Alexander, how was
yeah.
that?
It was really cool. We just it was just like a day trip,
Hmm.
but it was cool just to be able to see like the Citadel, Kite Bay, and to go to that restaurant that was on the water and to be able to just like kind of walk through. We also went to God, what is it called? Pompeii's Pillars.
Mm.
So that was really cool. And our tour guide actually like connected us with that gentleman, you know, to make sure that we were safe, and you know, he trusted him.
Okay. And then out of curiosity for tour guides, just to give our folks, some folks ain't never had a tour guide, don't know how much they cost. What's the cost range about to have a tour guide? What is that about?
I want to say it was about like 250.
Mm-hmm.
But it was nice because like if you go to a lot of restaurants
Mm-hmm.
in, you know, in a lot of like developing countries, they have like a tourist price and they have a local price. So it was nice to kind of have
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, like when we were actually going on like all of our excursions, it wasn't like we were like having to pay money. Like we were able to just kind of, you know, pay the tour guide, and then, you know, kind of he would handle everything, you know, he would order for us. And, you know, a lot of times before we went to a restaurant, he would, you know, ask us what we wanted, and then he would go and order it. And then by the time we sat down and, you know, all the food was coming down, it was like, you know, nice. And he told us, he said, you know, I'm gonna give you guys the Egyptian price. I'm not gonna give you guys, you know, I'm not gonna give you guys the tourist price. So
Yes,
yeah, so that was
yes.
really awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely a difference. And that's everywhere. Wherever you go, there's a local price and tourist price. I'm sure you can guess that we pay more. So we can get the same exact service, the same exact meal, whatever the case may be. We're going to pay more because we're tourists. So
Exactly.
that's just what comes with it. But if you have a tour guide, once again, that 250 that you pay for a tour guide could save you some money depending on how much you do. So
Yeah.
it might be a good investment. Um, they can tell you where, like I said, where to go, what to do, what not to do, what to expect. I remember I was in Chile and excuse me, I was in Chile and I remember I took a taxi cab. I was studying abroad. I took a taxi cab home or whatever, and I told my Chilean mother that how much he charged me. I don't know how much he charged me, but it was in Chilean money, and she was like Darren, like that's way too. It was all in Spanish though. It was so when so it was
Yeah.
all in Spanish. So she was like, that's way too much. He just ripped you off. So you can't. I'm from experience, once again, you can't get ripped off. So I highly recommend that you guys pay attention to the currency exchange rate and how much stuff is in other currency. That's one of the things it's going to save you some money, literally. So
Yeah.
definitely pay attention to that. Like I said, when you have a tour guide, they can kind of school you on different things like that, little nuances. So that's pretty cool. And then anything that you already spoke about the kids that you did not like. Anything else, or what do you say was like probably like the best part of that trip, the Egypt trip?
I think probably the best was going ATVing. And
Absolutely. Do that.
the guy that actually like took us ATVing, he was like, "Do you want pictures?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Okay." And he like sat on top of my ATV, and I was like, what are you doing?" And he said, "You want pictures?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Give me your phone." So I gave him my phone. And then he was like, "Okay, you guys start riding." And I'm like, "With you on my ATV?" And he's like, "Yeah." I got the sickest pictures and videos because I'm literally like riding up and down hills, and he's just
Mm-hmm.
like holding on for dear life, like recording it. So that was like, yeah,
Wow.
I
That,
was like, he definitely earned that tip. And then it was like sunset, so it was like really beautiful. And then right when we like got to this area, he was like, "Stand right here and like put your hand like this and do this." And I did, and it basically looks like I have like the sun in the palm of my hand. And
uh,
yeah, so it was like, really beautiful and just like kind of like an epic moment, whenever I look at that picture, I'm like, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, that's dope. I know some folks they go on vacation. Sometimes it's an R&R. Sometimes you just want to rest and relax, chill at the in the room, chill at the pool, on the beach. But for those folks who like adventures, for those folks who want to go out and do something and be active, ATVing is definitely something cool to do, especially in different countries and whatnot. Because when you go to these tour companies, they have great people to show you a good time and how their country really is, and they do fun stuff like that, give you pictures that you like, that's lifetime, that you always remember. So that's pretty cool, pretty awesome. I love that. And then anything else you want to talk about in terms of Egypt that we didn't cover that you would like to talk about before we head on back?
I would just want to just make sure that people understand that, like the travel industry is really struggling right now.
Hmm.
So, I just hope that when it's safe to do so, that people travel and, they go places like, Egypt. And because, you know, we were very fortunate in America that, we had, unemployment. We had, like a lot of these, resources, but some of these developing countries didn't.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
they really depend on like tourist dollars. So I just
Hmm.
hope that Egypt is such an amazing place, and I just hope that people will continue to travel there, and it is safe. I would still recommend getting a tour guide, but I really enjoyed my time there, and I felt like they really took care of me.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because you got some places that are overshadowed by other, but I think Egypt is one of those places that we should go visit because of the history and whatnot. So I think that's definitely important. Egypt is definitely on my list. I've only been to Morocco. But I definitely want to touch more places in Africa, so that'd be pretty cool. But with that said, it looks like my travelers out there, we definitely have to catch a flight back home. So we got to wrap it up a little bit. And hopefully y'all got a lot of value, a lot of good information, some souvenirs to bring back with you. But as we head back, I have one last segment for you guys where it's called the lightning round. Now, Joy, I'm going to ask you a list of questions, and it's super fast, rapid fire. So it's real quick. You can only answer in one word answers. Okay.
Ooh,
So yeah. So let me see. Let me go ahead and get my list ready. Here we go. All right. So you ready?
yes, I'm ready.
All right. So we start now. So what is your favorite airline?
Delta.
What's your favorite hotel?
Embassy Suites.
Your favorite, oh, you haven't been on a cruise line. Your favorite state,
Nebraska.
your favorite country.
Indonesia.
Ooh, your favorite hotel booking site.
Can I say Airbnb? Does that count?
That counts. Yeah. Hotel, Airbnb, that counts. Favorite flight booking site. Well, you don't really use flights.
Yeah,
Before you was a travel agent, or not
oh,
travel agent, but a flight attendant.
I think Expedia.
Expedia. Okay. Okay. And one thing you must bring on all your trips.
My debit card.
Where do you want to go next?
Amsterdam.
I've been there. That's nice. And what country do you like the least, if any?
I don't have that yet. Yeah.
Understood. Yep, no worries. And then what other country would you live in?
Probably Mexico,
What about state? What other state?
Georgia.
Georgia.
Mhm.
And last but not least, what is your favorite travel podcast?
Yours.
Great answer. Great answer. Great answer. Great answer. I like that. I like that. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we are now approaching our home airport. So hopefully, like I said, I'm sure y'all got a lot of information, great value on what to do, what to expect, CE, and all that in Egypt. So that's gonna be pretty cool. Make sure you guys follow Joy. I'm gonna leave her information either on this video or in the description. She has some amazing things going on as far as traveling and vlog and all that. So if y'all got some questions, she is the person to ask and just pick her brain. So with that being said, thank you so much, Joy. We definitely appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank
And
you for having.
then of course. Thank you for being a guest. Definitely. And then last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, I need your undivided attention. So the plane is now descending. So I need everyone back into their seats, buckle up, trays up, and your seats in the upright position. So before we land, Joy, if you can give our listeners one last piece of travel advice, what would that be?
Just have a great positive attitude.
Mm. Well, easy, short and simple. I love it. Positive attitude, positive vibes only. So, with that being said, thank you guys for traveling with us at the Global Travel Podcast. We are now safely landed. You can unbuckle your seatbelts, take your belongings, and exit the cabin. Okay. So, with that being said, thank you once again and see you on our next trip. So, let me go ahead and stop recording. Let me see. So, it's recording. Let me go ahead and push stop. Do you want to stop recording? If you would like to be a guest on our show and tell us about your travel experiences, then leave us a comment in the comment section below so we can reach out to you. Also, if you have any countries, states, or cities that you'd like us to review, please let us know so we can plan a trip there. Lastly, if you got some good value today and liked our podcast, please hit the like button and click subscribe so you can travel with us again next time. So subscribe right now because you don't want to miss the next trip. With that being said, over and out.